Welcome to Therapist Take Podcast. We're going to talk about safety planning when it comes to escaping domestic abuse, so don't go anywhere. Hey, Carrie.
Hi, Josh.
How are you today?
I'm all right.
Good.
Yeah.
So for people listening, if they hear doors slamming, it's because we actually have a functioning therapy office going on right now, and people are taking clients back.
Working.
So, yeah, they're working today,
they're doing
so
work. Yes.
we can't go out there and ask them to be quiet.
No,
So
it won't work.
we're going to just dive right into it because we have I feel like this is a really serious topic, a really important topic.
An important one. And
Yeah.
it's a topic that's helpful for us to help our clients too,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So.
Yes, absolutely. And the guest that we have is a returning guest, which I'll introduce him in just a second. But let's introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
My name is Josh Nichols. I'm a licensed marital and family therapist and a certified sex addiction therapist. And my co-host is...
Oh, usually you say it for me.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought I'd mix it up a little bit.
Carrie Kiger, and the same, and LMFT and a CSAT. Those are the abbreviations for our...
Right. And as we say, like, that doesn't mean we're not quacks. It just means we're licensed to be quacks.
That's right. We
Right.
may be licensed and a quack.
We might be.
Right.
Right.
Right. I don't think so.
I don't
but-
think so either, but
Okay.
that's our
putting
opinion
it
of
out
ours.
there, right?
That's my opinion of myself,
We
and I
hope
am
it's
not
close
biased.
to reality, but
Right.
we try.
So I'm going to introduce our guest. Our returning guest is Brian Putnam. He's a practicing attorney, but he's also a published author of the book Escaping Domestic Abuse. That is already linked in the description of the video, but we'll make sure to link other resources, like he's provided us a checklist.
Right.
It's
right.
a really
helpful
yeah,
checklist.
detailed checklist that I think will be helpful. We'll figure out a way to link that PDF so people can have access to that. Without further ado, I'm just going to bring Brian on. Brian, welcome back.
Morning, thank you. Appreciate you having me back.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't make you too upset last time.
No, I didn't. Very
No.
valuable information. So tell everybody real quickly, I didn't want to butcher it because I don't have it right in front of me, but your actual web address so people can go to your website.
Okay, it's PutnamLawOffice.com. Putnam, PutnamLawOffice.com.
Gotcha.
Got it.
And you think that'd be easy to remember, but we had a guest last week where right in front of me, she said, "My podcast is this," and I repeated it back to her incorrectly immediately. So it's better if you just do it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Right. So, but anyways, you remember at the end last time we were like, we got the safety planning. We really didn't get to dive into it that much because we were right at the end. I know this might be a little redundant, but can you tell us a little bit what inspired you to write that book?
So doing family law and even going back into my military career, one of the greatest parts of my peacetime job was to help my junior officers and enlisted and my civilians through what they very often felt were insurmountable problems. When I retired and became a practicing attorney and I settled on doing family law, I want to know that my client is going to be okay in life. And when I started doing domestic abuse, and I say abuse, remember we talked about the different
Right.
domestic violence and domestic abuse are often used interchangeably. Domestic violence is really a subset
Right.
of abuse. Remember we
The
had
umbrella.
financial and emotional and
right.
psychological. There's there's an umbrella. Abuse is violence is part of it. And it's
Yes.
very often part of it. It's a big part of it.
Yes.
But it's not the only thing. So
Right.
when I started doing domestic abuse cases and hearing the stories people would tell me about what they were trying to live through, what they were dealing with, that really hit me in a different way. And so I started, and I say this with all humility, making myself as expert in it as I could. I'm sure I don't know everything. It is a specialty that I have, and I decided, well, I have a lot of knowledge on this, so I just decided to put together that book.
Well, let me say this from experience, in over the years. We've been doing this for 20 years or more now. I've seen many attorneys as clients. There are definitely attorneys out there that really do care about their clients and helping them get what they need and what they deserve and things like that. Which I don't know if anybody really ever gets what they deserve, but you're trying to help make it as fair and
Well, we're
as
in this
possible.
for justice, not for revenge.
Right. It's interesting to me, like this pursuit of justice, like you really never get there. You might be able to just get
Closer.
right? Do you agree with that? Or?
I do many times. You need the goal really is closure.
Yes.
You can't go back and make it not happen. You can't
Right.
prevent what has happened to somebody, but you can make their life better going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe that's like as we're talking about like safety planning or helping people escape these types of situations. Maybe the empowerment is the justice. Is like what I learned from this is how to show up for myself in a way that I've never done before. And that doesn't change what I went through, but what is, I guess, just is what I'm now doing for myself, and rising to the occasion.
Let's
I don't
talk
know.
about that. So empowerment. That's a good segue. So yes, we are trying to empower people to stand up. Some people have only had a one-off event and they nope, we're not doing this. We're going to end this immediately. Other people have lived through some type of abuse for years and have lost who they are as a person, as an individual. And at that point, they may be parents, they may be grandparents. They've got families and lives that are inextricably linked to all of this. And that abuser, and let me go back and clarify. We're probably going to use the term the female as the abused and the male as the abuser, because that's what happens most often, right?
That we're aware of.
We went back to some numbers last time. It's 1 in 4 females and 1 in 7 males has experienced some kind of abuse in their lifetime, and those are just the ones that get reported.
The ones that are known, yeah.
So to clarify for the people out there, if I say something that sounds like it's always women who get abused and always men who are abused, that's not necessarily the case. Just take it at its face value.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it could be interchangeable.
Sure.
Right.
But empowering someone to get through the storm first and wait for the skies to clear and know what to do with their newfound freedom and safety and mental peace.
Yeah.
That is the goal, to help them move forward.
Yeah. I think that what we're talking about today is a little bit of what you have to do in the interim to get there. Because people are probably executing a lot of the things that we're talking about today when they're not feeling stable or empowered, right? And so it's kind of like you're handing them a tool of, you're going to get there. Here's a good place to start. At least that's what it feels like to me.
Most people don't know where to start.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Particularly in the moment.
In the moment,
Yeah.
right. Which is why I think being clear and practical, like you've put together here, is so helpful, because we understand how the brain is during crisis, right? It's not exactly great at
Fight, flight, or freeze.
problem solving and even futurizing and those kind of things really are shut down. And so to have somebody guide them and say, do this, and here's how you prioritize, I just think that takes so much of the load off of clients when they're in that moment of distress, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I think, there's a lot of paradoxes in mental health and human functioning, like in something that feels so weak, like asking for help is actually it's like the first step to empowering yourself. And so I think that's where, probably where your book comes from, is where your checklist you created come from. And this discussion today is that people like Brian on the legal side and us on the mental health side, we're going to walk you through it. Like, we're going to be a source of strength for you until you can, until you can figure out, or we can help you figure out how to get your feet under you in the right way. And it really is like a wraparound, like team approach with when it comes to this type of issue and what people are going through.
Oh, this is definitely a team sport.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
doubt.
one side of this gets it done.
Yeah.
Right.
Completely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into talking about this first step of just preparing to leave, like, and then I think kind of the other 3 points are kind of falling in line underneath
Together.
that. Yeah. So what comes to your mind when you first think of like if somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, here's my situation, I've got to get out, I don't know how to do it, like, can you help me? Where would you go first with them?
Usually it's I've left and I'm living in a domestic violence shelter, or I'm living in a YWCA or something to that effect, and they've already left. If I had somebody coming to me planning to leave, oh great, now we've got you, now we can set you up.
So it's better that way from a legal.
Well, it would
point
be
of view.
nice.
Okay.
It would be nice because we can walk them through all of these things. Now, this checklist is, again, this is years of me gathering information from past conversations and writing down a note here or there and going back and
Yeah.
so this is intended for use by anybody. So let's talk about one scenario on one end of the spectrum where you said somebody's thinking about leaving. That's great. If you're in because some people are very calm under pressure. They know they need to leave and but they don't know how to start planning. On the other end of the spectrum, it's somebody who's they grabbed their keys, their kid, and left. But now they don't know what to do. We can deal with that. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of backtrack and go get the things that you left the home under stress. You were either being harmed, or you or your kids or your pets were threatened to be harmed, and you took your chance and you got out. It could either be your home or not your home. Either way, you're going to have to go back and get your stuff. Well, does that mean everything? Not necessarily.
Okay.
But there are things that we have on this checklist to guide people in their thinking. And not every single thing on here is going to necessarily apply to every single person out there. So it's very robust, but it's intended to be.
Right.
So preparing to leave. Well, let's talk about the 4 parts in general, like you kind of mentioned. So there's preparing to leave. That's your planning phase. The items to take. What do you take with you when you
what
leave?
Do you take? Yeah.
Once you do leave, there are steps to take, and then after it's over, what do you do?
Right.
So those are the 4 basic parts.
Great.
So preparing to leave, you're going to there are going to be things that you absolutely must have. Where do you go? Identify a safe space. Is that the YWCA? Is that your mom's house out of state? Is that a friend's house down the street? Preferably, it's going to be somewhere that the abuser either doesn't know or doesn't have access to.
Okay.
I have had situations, I have seen it happen recently, where an abused party went to her parents' house, but the parents had a good relationship with the abuser,
Yeah, I'm sure.
and they let him in the house.
Yeah, can't do that.
That's not a good recipe.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a place where that abuser is not going to be let in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are things that a lot of people don't think about. I learned years and years and years ago, when I was young and broke and didn't have a lot, I would run my gas tank down to, let's see how far below that E I can get it before I have to fill up.
It's funny.
I know there are a lot of people out. I'm not the only one.
Right.
I can't be the only one.
We still do. What are you talking about?
So I don't like to, my fiance gets on me about, filling up my gas tank every week. And I don't let mine get below a quarter of a tank. I mean, just what if it's winter and you slide off the road or
Right.
something? I mean, maybe you're not in an abuse situation, but just a safety thing, right?
Safety.
Right.
Mhm.
Keep your car gassed up.
That's good. I mean,
That
that's
is.
something I would not
Think about, yeah.
think about is your transport, your ride, the thing that
Right.
gets you from point A to point B,
Yeah.
Park in a position that allows for quick egress, quick escape. Maybe you back it in the next time you come in, so you can just jump in that car and go. You're going to want your keys. You're going to want you teach your children how to contact emergency services. If they're teenagers, they probably know by now. But if they're 7, teach them
Right.
how to contact emergency, police, fire, 911, whatever you want to call. What's the mental health line?
988.
988. Okay.
Yes.
That's not an invalid number to call as well. They might guide you to resources.
Sure.
Right.
Oh, they
right,
should.
Sure.
One
Yeah.
would hope anyway.
If the government's open.
If the
Yeah.
oh stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Changing your passwords. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I have this conversation when people hire me. We have a client portal, which gives them access to several things. One of which is a secured email.
Good.
It's not a problem for a lot of folks, but I don't know who's got whose passwords. And if I've got people going through a divorce who are still living under the same roof, and it does happen frequently,
Yes, sure.
this just adds a different layer of protection, encryption and everything. But change your password. A lot of people share their passwords with the family because I don't have anything to hide. Well, maybe you do now.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to change
Yeah.
that password. Maybe you
Sure.
need to get a new email address.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Maybe you need to get a separate bank account.
So you're
Okay.
basically it's like discreetly trying to separate yourself from the situation. Like you're kind of leaving before leaving. You're starting to,
Picture yourself. What happens next?
yeah,
Where do
Yeah.
I go? What do I do? How do I live?
right. I would also think like that, like one of the, like you would be like a first step. Like find someone like you that can actually, like you said, it would be great if they could get to you before they actually left so you could walk them through this stuff, right? And so I would imagine there's like a network you're probably going to want them to like, like you said, it's not just about where you're living, it's probably who you're living with, right? Is that person going to understand the situation that it is so they know, like, don't let that person in, like, or we don't even want them to know where you are, things like that, right?
Right. It's exceptionally difficult when you have a job.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Clearly, the abuser is going to know where you work
And the
Yeah,
hours
that's
you
right.
work. Yeah.
and the hours you work, and God forbid you work at 7-Eleven on the graveyard shift.
Yeah.
Not a lot of protection there.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to want to have maybe a talk with your boss. Hey, can I change shifts? Can I work at a different location? Something. Clearly, that's between them and their employer.
Right.
Can't really do much about that, but these are things to think about.
Think it through.
Can I ask you a question real quickly on that? Because I know how you defined it earlier. You said we're not talking about strictly domestic violence. So when you say abuser, it's not, we're talking about people that are emotionally abusive, psychologically abusive, as you said. I want to ask you, like, when you're helping them do this, like, you got to figure out how you're going to do work. Like, this isn't just limited to people that are afraid of this person physically. It's like you have the right to do this if you feel emotionally unsafe with that person, right? Like, or you feel psychologically controlled by that person. And so I just don't want people listening to this to think when we're saying abuser that, oh, that's not me because they're not physically abusing me. Like, no, we're talking about, like, when you're around this person, if you just feel like you're just,
You shut down. You're
right.
You're withdrawn. You're
like
emotionally
in an unsafe
unavailable.
way, right? Because you just it's almost like it's an emotional violence in a way. It's like it's that extreme, right? Like where I might speak up and you're gonna start yelling at me, or I try to do this or do that, and I'm just met with a ton of resistance. No, you can't do this. You can't. It's like that psychological control. type piece. So I just wanted to just interrupt there just to say, like, when people hear you saying the word abuser, it's not limited to, this does not mean that your partner, you have to be afraid, first be afraid that your partner is going to physically harm you. It can start long before that.
Well, you can hear in the suggestions that Brian is making that it is speaking to not just violence. It's
Right.
about having financial access. It's about having a safe physical space to be at. It's about having, a way to get away, right? I mean, these are the advice that you're giving, I think, reflects the whole spectrum or all the things that can fall under that umbrella. of
Anybody can
abuse.
grab their keys and go. All right, now what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So
Right, yeah.
Right.
you have to have. I mean, and again, I'm not saying don't grab your keys and go.
Right, that's included,
Your life is
sure.
the most
Yeah.
important. Right?
Sure.
But it would be nice if you had some way to survive without having to go back or without
Yes.
having to rely on others
Mm-hmm.
to the greatest degree possible.
To
Right.
walk back into the lion's den.
Correct.
basically, Right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
So yes, it is not just physical violence. It is
Right.
emotional, psychological, sexual, religious.
Right.
There is a whole, there's a whole, the power and control wheel you guys
Yeah.
are probably familiar with.
Yeah.
So some of the things that you've mentioned, grabbing obviously your keys when you're preparing to leave, but what are some other things that
Keys, cash,
essential?
kids, and pets.
Okay.
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 If you don't have kids,
Yeah.
but you still feel like he's going to threaten the dog to hurt you because it's
Take-
your dog,
Yeah.
The pets.
well, guess what? Hard to get
Right.
I mean, it's easier for a Chihuahua than it is for a 90-pound yellow
Right.
lab, but
Yeah.
still got to consider that.
Okay.
I am curious about, like, are there things that probably would have been helpful for someone to grab that they just kind of like having the car gassed up, like something I wouldn't have thought about. Like, is there anything like that when it comes to items aside from those four main things you mentioned that people just tend to forget are kind of important to have?
Birth certificates, immigration papers. We have a lot of
Right.
documented and undocumented folks here. Immigration papers, any credit cards you have, insurance information.
Oh, yeah.
Your kid might be sick. You might have to take them to the doctor, or you might be sick, have to go to the doctor. You got to have your insurance card,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
particularly if you're going to a new location and you're not on file
Yeah.
with those folks.
Uh-huh.
They're going to
Certain
want
documents. Yeah.
they're going to want your insurance information.
Sure.
Right.
Medical records is in here, but that's not necessarily the most important thing.
Okay.
And we're talking about under duress, right? So if I just have to grab stuff real quick, medical records, we can get those later.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a situation where you can get them, okay, fine. If it's safe to do so, if you have the time, go ahead. That's fine. But the most important stuff is, like I said, keys, cash, kids, and pets.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, and clothes. So if you have small children, if you're in a situation where you just have to go and you haven't been planning on it, you're just going to leave with clothes on your back. You have an infant. You can, if you don't have cash, you're not buying diapers. So
Right.
keys, cash, kids, and pets.
So I have another question just jumped in my brain here, because I was thinking about the idea, like, if you're making sure your car's gassed up, it kind of sounds like someone might have a to-go bag, ready to go. But so here's my question. Do you think, like, if you're in a situation where you're making sure your car is gassed up and you have a to-go bag because you might need to use that someday, do you think the writing's kind of on the wall at that point? Like, if I'm living in a situation where I'm just feel like I gotta have my car ready to go, and I find myself preparing a to-go bag, like, but I'm not really taking any extra steps. Like, it kind of just feels like the writing's on the wall for that relationship. Like, you don't feel safe if you are already doing those things. You don't feel safe, and that probably needs to be addressed some way. And of course, if you feel unsafe with the person you're with, obviously you're not going to address it there, and that's where someone like you comes in. Did you agree with that, or do you think that that's just good practice anyway?
Well, you shouldn't go into a relationship thinking you have to have a go bag. So
Right.
if you're in that part of your relationship where you're thinking of those things, then yeah, I'd say the writing's on the wall. You get your stuff and go,
Right.
but don't wait. So some people wait, and we talked about this the last time. Some people wait hoping it's going to get better. Some
Yeah.
people wait because they just don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
There are situations. Some people don't, or that if they have somewhere to go, they don't have. So stay-at-home wife for the last 20 years he's got all the access to the financial accounts. He's
Right.
got it, how's she going to live?
Right.
Or he, but how's this person going to live? Well, this is where siphoning off discreetly as possible funding.
So you have some.
He gives you some money to go to the grocery store and buy groceries, and he counts that change when you come back, but he wants to see the receipt. Maybe you buy an extra loaf of bread and then go return that loaf of bread later and get that money and pocket it and then put that away somewhere.
Yeah.
Or get yourself a credit card, but have it sent to your trusted person's house, whether that's your parents, your best friend, your boss. Just if you're in that situation, you've got to look for resources.
Right.
Yeah.
You cannot. You have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
So you cannot just assume that everybody in your life is trustworthy.
Very true.
You can hope, right? You hope your parents are not going to.
Yeah.
fact,
But like
they're
you said, sometimes it's not like the parents are necessarily unsafe people themselves, but if they don't know quite what's going on and they have a relationship with that person, then they just don't.
They're well-meaning,
right?
But if you haven't told them the depth of the situation, you've got to be able to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe
So
you
let's
don't,
just be realistic, right?
Maybe you don't get into all the details,
Sure.
but
you got to get into enough for them to know that you know you can't let this person over.
Right.
So
right.
But I mean, so obviously, like for people listening, there's a preparation phase to go through of like, man, if you can get to someone like Brian before you actually leave, great. Obviously, take care of your life first if you're in that type of situation, and then, basic things to grab and go. But the hardest part obviously is going
And where and what it's like there. Yeah.
So how do we when it comes to the third point here on like executing the escape, how to choosing the time, like bringing it all together basically. And now it almost feels like you were in the military, right? Like it almost feels like you're we have the plan and now we gotta
execute the mission.
we gotta like do it now and bring it all together.
So go into that during the escape piece of this, of your checklist. Timing and departure is the first thing. Leave when the risk is lowest. Obviously, again, if you're in the moment and you're being harmed or the threat is real or he's got a knife pointed at you, you're going to slowly back away. You're going to get out of the corner, find a window, find a door, get out, right? But if it's not in that moment, you've got to find the time when he goes to work, when he goes to sleep, when he's drunk and passed out, whatever. Find the time that is the safest and don't hesitate.
Okay.
Get out and go. Actually, I do say right here, take a go bag. So
Okay,
if you've got, and we talked about it last time, have a go bag. Put it at your office. Put it at your friend's house. Put it at your parents' house. Have a go bag. Have these at least a week's worth of clothes in there and some of the tools, the spare set of keys. Maybe he takes her keys at night. Well, most cars these days have a spare key fob.
Sure.
If you're driving an older car that doesn't, maybe you go get a spare set made. But have a spare set of keys somewhere.
Just kind of just based on how dire the situation is, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I think we talked last time, I mentioned it here, I think we talked last time about having a code word. Some people monitor everybody's communications. You call your mom, hey mom, how's it going today? Oh, just calling to check in. How's dad? Well, the next time you call, it's, hey mom, how's dad? You just left that out. That's your mom's cue to go, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Some kind of phrase, some kind of, oh, I'm feeling a little down today. As opposed to, oh, I feel great today, which you usually say. I'm a little down today. Well, if I say I'm feeling a little down, I need you to do these things.
That's what this
Right.
means.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that's innocuous,
Okay.
Right.
that escapes, that it's just not obvious
Right.
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 to somebody who's listening or monitoring or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you identify your primary safety contact, whoever that is.
Okay.
And then when it's time to go, you go. Um,
What do you find is most difficult for people? Like, do you ever have people like get to this point but they just can't do it? Like, they just can't go.
yeah. And they're frozen because they don't know what to do, where to go, who to trust. They don't believe, or alternatively, they stay because they don't think they can care for the two kids, but they don't want to leave those two kids there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do feel stuck.
Yeah. No question. Yeah.
Trapped would be the better
Trapped,
word.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
feel trapped.
Sure.
You know you're in jeopardy. You know your kids could be harmed. Maybe the abuser has never been a threat to the kids, only to you, but now he's starting to make overtures of, if you leave me, I'll kill myself, or if you leave me in front of the kids, or if you leave me, I'll take these kids and you'll never see them
Right.
again. Those kinds of things happen all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yes, they do feel trapped, and it's
Yeah.
very difficult to leave. We got a lot of comments on this. On my side of posting the last link, abuser, it's very difficult to escape. Well, I never said it was going to be easy.
No. Right.
It can be if you plan under the right circumstances, but it's not always.
Right.
For some people, especially, and I said last time, and I'll say it again, the most difficult part of leaving is those who have no financial means.
Yeah.
Financial abuse is probably the worst.
Yeah.
That's not to understate being physically harmed,
Mhm.
but if you can't support yourself when you leave,
Right.
you're gonna feel stuck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what you need from your support circle is going to feel like a bigger
Now
ask, right?
you're
Now
right.
I need you to pay. I need you to give, and that's a
That
hard
cannot
thing. Right.
cannot be understated.
Yes,
you
very
are,
much.
so that place, you're already under this great weight,
Right.
and now you don't want to be a burden on other people.
Right.
But here we are.
Right.
And
Right.
so to your point, they do. I
It's hard.
see that a lot, and it's probably the most difficult part of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have, I can't remember where I heard this, but an expression that often we'll say to people, like, you only have to be brave 5 seconds at a time. And this is, in a very real way, a series of 5-second increments, right? Like, just like where, like, if I want to have a hard conversation with you, Brian, and I'm nervous about it because I don't want to hurt your feelings, or I don't want to make you mad at me or something like that. I just got to take that 5 seconds to just do it. Right. Just to say, hey, can we talk? And after that, like, we're in it now. And then we get through that. And then the next 5 seconds might come a week later with something else, but in this type of situation, you're talking about the 5 seconds it takes to put that go bag to decide, I'm going to get this bag and do this. And you're in it and you're doing it. And then the next 5 seconds come with, I got to do something else in the same day or within the same hour. And it just seems a little daunting. Or
I say this very frequently. If my people at the office are listening, only wine and cheese get better with age. Bad news does not. Whether that's having a hard conversation with someone else or a very difficult conversation with yourself, you have to face that obstacle.
Yes.
If you keep putting it off and kicking it down the road, it's not going to get better. The ostrich point of view of life, burying your head in the sand, that doesn't work.
Right.
right.
Well, it doesn't get you. I mean, it may work, but it's not going to get you out of your situation.
That's right. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, for the sake of time, let's talk about the after. If once people have finally had the courage to leave, they did it. You did it. You should be very proud of yourself for doing it, but it's not over, right?
Correct. Yeah, there's things you still need to do, not just for the other people involved, but for yourself. So uh, you've left. You've gathered a few things. You couldn't gather everything you wanted. Do not go back to that house or whatever place without police protection or protective order or something. Ask for a civil standby from the police agencies. Sheriffs will gladly do that. Or have your, if it's my daughter and she's telling me, Dad, I don't feel safe with this guy, well, guess who's going to be right there? But do not go alone, and do not preferably go without some kind of court order backing you up, protective orders or otherwise. A lot of people tend to forget that they share their location. Turn off that Find My. At least stop sharing your location with the abuser.
Sure.
Right.
Yes.
Clear your GPS settings. Look for trackers on your vehicle. I once found an AirTag in the gas tank of my car. I don't know who put it there. I don't know why it was there. I don't know who was tracking me. I think it was somebody who saw, a target and decided they were going to roll me or something at some point. That wasn't going to turn out well for them. But the fact that I noticed it was, well, that's bold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
I just crushed it and moved
Little
on
do
with
they
my
know
life.
you fill up your tank once a week.
Yeah, you're
right?
gonna
So
find it. Yeah.
Yeah, I never did find out who put that there. It was just the most random thing. But I mean, being a family attorney, you get people, the jealous ex-husband or the
Sure.
whatever. It just comes with the territory.
Right.
Right.
But yes, the GPS settings, turn off you stop sharing your location, stay off social media, involve the police, involve domestic abuse shelters. And again, we talked last time, I don't want to plug one or the other because I'll leave so many out.
But
Sure.
we linked all of those last time, and we'll do the same thing this time
Okay.
for people. So yeah.
The YWCA is a great resource.
Yeah.
They're limited in their. They have a fantastic facility,
Right.
but they're limited in their space. But they do have a great program over there.
Right.
Where are you going to get your mail?
Mm-hmm.
Get on the USPS.com, change your mailing address.
Mm-hmm.
They won't give that out to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Get a P.O. box.
Yeah.
Have it sent to your parents' house. Let them or a friend's house or something to that effect. Somebody you trust. Change your address. Particularly if you and this kind of goes back to getting yourself a credit card. You're gonna want to have that address anyway. You can't have that sent to the house.
Right.
That'd be the worst thing.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could do. You're gonna need to if you have children, you're gonna need to let the school know, at least the counselor, know a little bit about what's going on. This person is under no circumstances allowed to take these kids. Here's the order that says so.
Okay. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are just right off the top of the head.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, you're talking about, especially when there's kids involved, like you're in for a long journey, but it doesn't have to be a super long journey of just a miserable life. I mean, I think taking the steps you're talking about, like, is taking control of your life and protecting yourself and the people you love, and hopefully that the system works well enough to where, it won't be like this forever type thing.
Well, let's kick this over to the medical side. And this is something that should be obvious, but if you're hurt, you go get medical attention. Well, you're also mentally hurt. And your kids could be at some point as well. So you're going to need to seek counseling or therapy. So that's where you come in. How do you help? How do you walk people through this kind of stuff?
Yeah. Oh, are you asking or?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's your
podcast. Send them to you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's, when it comes to you got to assess the situation first on how dire it is when you're picking up on that this person is really in an unsafe situation. honestly, the first thing I do is say, have you sought legal advice on this? Because I can't advise you legally. I can just help you through the mental health portion of it, but it's really hard to dive in to do any real type of therapy when you're in survivor mode. It's one thing to be in survivor mode when you don't have to be, and that's a lot of what we deal with, right? It's trying to help people realize they're okay, you know. But when you have to be, like, I would say someone like you is probably more effective to get them in those next steps, and then we can come in and do the work on how this has impacted them. It's kind of like a tornado's coming. We just got to go down in the storm cellar, and to me, that's you. Like, that is what you're talking about and what you're helping people with. Get down in there, get safe. And then where we come in is when you're able to finally poke your head out and let's look at what
do we need
the
to do
damage
now?
has happened here.
Well, a
right?
lot of your ability to help people is largely dependent on what they disclose, right?
Yes.
How do you talk them through, again, back to the trepidation they have with an attorney? Well, it's probably going to be the same in here. They don't know what they should talk about. Maybe they are in survivor mode and they've forgotten, or they don't know, they can't remember all the details.
Right.
That's PTSD.
Yeah.
But the people who come in that mode, what do you do to get them to open up?
Well, that takes time and trust, right? And so it does sometimes take a long time for us to know really the actual threat level.
That's
right?
the same with us.
Yeah,
100%.
the same with you. And I think that this is why, kind of back to kind of full circle what you're talking about. This is why this is a team. You have to take a community-based approach to this stuff because, trusting an attorney, trusting a therapist, trusting even a, shelter worker, they're all going to have different levels of trust, and they all perform different functions that are all the same in supporting somebody going from an unsafe situation to a safe situation. And so when we don't know the real threat level for our clients, the best we can do is to say, you seem distressed, right? But it does take some time. And us advising them to seek legal advice is a big part of our job. And having this information is even more helpful because I know that when our clients are still trying to come to grips with, is it really that bad? Right? When you start going through this and say, you need this and this, it kind of almost brings some things into focus, I think, which can be helpful for people that are on that struggling with discernment, right? But I know that's a whole other episode of what do we do to help people when they're, trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really appreciate the resources,
Very
by the way,
much.
and letting us have access to your checklist.
Yep, hand that out.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
we'll definitely keep it
yes.
here on hand, but we'll also link it somewhere.
Yes.
And so people can have access to that. And I just want to remind everybody to please go check out the book, Escaping Domestic Abuse. You can get it on Amazon right now. We have a link for that. Check out Brian's website, which is Putnam Law Offices.
Just one office.
Office.
PutnamLawOffice.com. I know that you also have written a few blogs, and so there's more than just information about attorney services there. So just more resources. The more resources you have, the better. And then obviously, if you like the podcast, you find it valuable, please, stop what you're doing for a second and give us a 5-star review or subscribe to our channel or whatever you need to do to help us please the algorithm so we can get the information in front of more people.
Right.
And so,
But we also have linked, websites that are also, if you're in a situation that's unsafe, there are emergency services and information like that as part of the linked on the episode as well.
that will be in the show notes as well.
Right.
For sure. But thank you for taking time out to come do this.
Appreciate you
I
having me
know
back.
we still, it sounds like we could have a conversation a lot longer than what we had, but I appreciate you doing the best you could to get in the information that
I know.
in such a short time span. So,
Yes.
but appreciate it, Brian.
Sure, thanks. Both of
Thank
you.
you.